Good morning. Good morning. And Ella and I were just having a conversation this morning about meetings. And this is the brand new COVID meeting. And how people are starting to do this stuff. And, you know, it's not unusual. We had count the amount of people here. And then after this meeting, I'll count the number of people that are on Zoom. And then after that, I'll count the number of people that do it on YouTube. And between it, we have a large meeting. So it's very interesting how people, how this pandemic has affected them. So if you don't think it's not affecting buyers and sellers, you're mistaken. Now, a couple of things. I downloaded Windows 11. Did anyone download Windows 11 yet?
Well, not to by IT.
So I can listen to it. So I downloaded Windows 11, and when you do that, all your settings go out. So I spent the last hour and 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get this up on the screen. And the settings are still off a little bit. I think it's going to be okay. You won't see the large bar on the right side with all the pictures of everybody on it because I can't get that to come up here. In addition, Susan Wolf is with us this morning, and she's going to introduce somebody from Moove Guru. And I am hoping that we will be able to hear him because of the settings. I don't know yet. So we're gonna find out. So where's my clicker? Please. I hope the clicker works.
Oh.
So today's meeting, we're at the end of the meeting, we're going to talk about the dreaded bad agent review. If you've ever had an agent review, and which we all like to get these agent reviews, but every once in a while you get one that's just way out there in left field. And you look at it and you just are like, well, we're going to talk about that today because it's a fact of life. If you're in this business long enough, you are going to get some kind of bad agent review. And 99 times out of 100, you say, well, that's not fair. And you want to lash out at the person. Well, I'm going to teach you some different ways to combat that and the way to address that instead of trying to explain money. So, first up this morning is Dan and James, and I am going to, I'm not sure who's up. Okay.
What's that? Okay, yeah. You want me to just cover that? Yeah, okay. So just a reminder, we are having a renovation webinar today at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3. If you RSVP'd for that, you should have received a link. If for some reason you still want to participate in that, just reach out to James about the week. Check that out. It's an hour long. It's from our renovation guru within Town Bank. Blefko is his name, and you know, renovation mortgages are good opportunities in some situations. Obviously, with people with properties that need some work, great opportunities with that property finance.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you 1 second here. I'm getting my chat box just explode here. I'm guessing they can't hear a word we're saying. So let me just check it real quick.
I just want to be.
Hey, Tom, it's Colleen.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, the further that you walk away from the computer, then
Okay.
we can't hear you. And,
Okay.
and Dan was very muted, just to kind of give you some feedback.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you hear
Sure.
me better?
Colleen,
Yes?
can you hear Dan now? Dan speak.
No.
Right up to your face.
Any better now?
Yes. I can hear you, Tom, but not Dan.
So maybe I need to be closer to the computer. Is this
No.
any better? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Dan.
Okay. All right, so I'll just stay over here by the laptop. Gotta stand in the right place. All right, so real quick, what I had said earlier is we are having a renovation financing webinar today from 2 to 3 o'clock. Chris Bushing, who is our guru about renovation financing in both FHA and conventional, is doing an hour-long webinar. If you would like to participate, you haven't signed up yet, just reach out to James or myself, and we can get you the link to participate in the webinar. The one thing I wanted to talk about today is something called appraisal gap insurance. So an agent had come to me, actually a couple agents had asked me, hey, do you know anything about appraisal gap insurance? And I said, well, gosh, I don't know anything about that. What the heck is that? So I did some research. And, you know, when you think of what's appraisal gap insurance, obviously you think, gosh, it's something that's going to protect the buyer for when they offer above list price and the appraisal is insured. So it sounds kind of cool and interesting. But after doing some more research, there really is not any such thing as appraisal gap insurance. It's more so a kind of a, I guess, a snazzy term for a strategy. So the mindset behind it is, let's just say, put together an example here, just because it's a little bit hard to follow the bouncing ball. We really only work in a situation where a buyer is doing at least a 10% down payment. So let's assume, for instance, you know, a house is listed at $280,000. You have a buyer putting in an offer at $325,000 with a 90% loan to value. So in that situation, ultimately, they're going at $32,500 down payment. So what this strategy is basically saying is writing into the contract, if they're doing a 90% loan to value, your buyer would essentially guarantee a 5% appraisal gap by increasing their loan to value to 95%. So in that situation, you're kind of removing a little bit of risk from a short appraisal, and you're doing it with a little creativity in the loan to value structure. So in that situation, let's say the appraisal comes in at 305. So your offer was 325, your list price was 280, your appraisal comes in $20,000 short at 305. If you're changing the loan to value to 95%, instead of your borrower or your buyer needing to come up with that $20,000 shortage, by changing the loan to value to 95%, they only have to come up with $2,750 more. So it's a little confusing. It takes some creativity, but it's just, again, it's a different strategy. And, you know, I think in a situation like that, when, you know, if you're writing a contract, it's probably a good idea. Obviously, if you're using James or myself, we can sit down and kind of talk about the numbers so everything's precise, but it's really about writing that into the contract that your buyer is guaranteeing, you know, this gap by changing the loan to value. Obviously, if they're doing a greater down payment, 15 or 20%, you have more room to guarantee a larger percentage. But ultimately, they would have to be doing at least a 10% down payment for it to really make sense, because then they can bridge the gap with that change of the 5% loan to value increasing. Obviously, from a lender perspective, we have to make sure that they do indeed qualify that 95% loan to value as well. But just wanted to throw it out there. Again, I don't know if anyone else has heard of the term appraisal gap insurance. Again, I think it's more of a marketing term. It sounds kind of cool and snazzy, but there's absolutely nothing like that truly exists. It's just a strategy of changing the loan to value. If you have any specific questions, reach out to James or myself, and we'll be happy to help you out. That's all I have. Sarah?
We're going to make sure.
Yep.
I don't even like me anymore. We might sing, dance, and just don't tempt us. Hey, yeah. Where is Alexis's picture? I do not belong here.
It's flooding.
I know, we need to share it.
Gosh, this thing is so screwed up.
Well, now it's James White's turn.
That's all right. There we go.
There we go.
James is Not right. Okay, they keep getting farther to the right. All right, good morning. So first we want to discuss having your buyers fund. So buyers need to bring money to the table, as we all know, even though I've had a couple buyers recently not realize that they need to do that. So we want to just reiterate, make sure that your clients know to either get their check or initiate their wire at least 24 hours prior to settlement. This would help alleviate them getting to the table and forgetting to initiate it. We don't have funds or needing to run to the bank. And a lot of times your client may get a number from their lender. Check with us. We can always say, hey, have them either wire that money in or get a check in that amount. That way everybody gets to the table prepared. I know that buyers are going through a lot, and I know that you as agents tell them multiple times, get your check, wire your money, but somehow it still slips some of their minds. Like, oh, I forgot to do that. And the last thing we want is sitting at a closing table and, oh, by the way, I forgot to wire my money, or I need to go grab a check. So just a reminder for you as buyer agents, just make sure your clients are aware of that. The other thing with wires, we've had a lot of buyers who want to wire in their escrow money, and that's great. However, Berkshire Hathaway's wire instructions are different than home sale settlement. So some of the agents have had the money wired into home sale settlement for down money that goes to transactions, and we'll switch it around. But just make sure that you have the right wire instructions to get the money to the right place. That way your clients or whoever, purchasing the property gets the money into the right escrow account in a timely fashion, so there's no delays in the contract. Next slide.
There you go.
Oh, the next thing we want to talk about is the nerdy math holiday Pi Day, because I'm a nerd on the inside and I really like this holiday, but I also really like pie. So this is what I'm working with, guys. So I like to celebrate March 14th because it is National Pi Day 3.14. So your Home Sale Complete team is going to be providing lunch with various pizza pies and drinks. However, we also want to open an invitation to everyone to enter the pie contest. If you make really good whoopie pies or banana cream pies or cherry pie, enter your best pie and win a grand prize, and you can be the king or queen of Pie Day. I know that's super exciting and an awesome title. We would like everybody to RSVP that either you're coming or you're coming and going to enter the pie contest by March 11th, and you can RSVP to Marion. That's it.
Yep. Bring a pie in order to.
No, yeah. It's only if you want to be the honor, like the king or queen of Pie Day. That's the only reason you need to enter. I will not be entering. I don't bake pie. I eat them.
Okay, I got a quick little topic here. It's come up more frequently in the past year and a half about renting back, where the seller of the home needs a renter's policy, basically. I've been asked numerous times how much liability coverage I think would be good for the seller to obtain for that, short window for their renter's policy, before they move into their new house and before the buyer moves into the house. And I usually say about $500,000 liability is the best to start with it at a minimum here, because that's what most companies offer these days as well too. There's some companies that offer $1 million, but I'd say 500,000 they should be good. And for contents coverage as well too, however much the seller would need is what I would honestly suggest, but that can vary greatly, as you guys know. So, and there's not much of a difference in contents on a renter's policy from 50 to 75,000, 75 to 100. So, for that few extra bucks for the month or two while they're renting back, it's probably better just to have the higher dollar amount than the lower dollar amount, to tell you the truth. So that was basically all I have.
Okay. While we're talking about renter's insurance, just to let everybody know, if you have a situation where you are going to have a buyer either move in ahead of time or a seller's going to stay, always check with your insurance agent first. Make sure that you can get a policy to cover that period of time. I see too many people these properties or stay in the properties and don't even think about insurance. So always contact your insurance agent and make sure that they are aware of that, okay? So some scam alerts. God. First of all, I do not need any gift cards. Right? I do not need any gift cards, and neither do any of the managers in this company or the leadership team. So please, if you're getting any kind of email or text from, you think it's me or somebody else, it's not true. Okay, I will tell you that. And the other thing, I'll just, as a courtesy to me, I appreciate that everybody's concerned that I'm in some kind of jail in a foreign country and I need all this money. But please, my email gets blown up every time that one of these scammers goes out and says, "Are you aware that you've just been scammed?" And it takes me 3 days to go through all my emails, which I appreciate all the love, but trust me, I don't need it. A couple other things. Sarah just talked about wire instructions. I'm seeing more and more agents that are tearing off the first page of the agreement of sale that we purposely put there and said, listen, make sure you review this with your clients. It is really important. I'm telling you, I hear from the management side of this stuff that's happening across Lancaster County, and it is scary. I know it hasn't maybe happened to you yet, but I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time if you aren't paying attention to this. A buyer or a seller that you are working with is going to wire something to somebody that is not good. So I get it, it's there, it almost is like white noise that you look at and say, oh, why do we have this first page here? Well, there's a good reason for it. So just want to make everybody aware of that. And finally, fraudulent offers. We just had this at Centerville Road where a company by the name of Circle Real Estate Team, or they had another name called Offers at Circle.Real Estate. There you go. They are essentially drawing up fraudulent offers on listings. Okay. And what's happening, and by the way, just because it has that name there doesn't necessarily mean this is the only name they're going to use. They're going to start using different names. What you want to be aware of when you get offers is, first of all, know the agent, know who the company is. If you don't, pick up the phone and call them. And if they say, we'll only communicate through email, that's your first clue. So call the agent and find out who it is. The other tip off that you will find as you get involved with these things, and I had a couple of these over my career, where they say, well, the deposit's coming. And it gets to day number 5 and you don't have it. And then they have an excuse saying, well, they just had it wired to their other account and it'll be here in 2 days. And before you know it, you're into this 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And everybody's looking at this stuff saying, now you're so far into it that you don't want to pull out of it. Just a word to the wise. If people are missing these key dates, just throw in the agreement, especially with people that you do not know. Okay? So be careful. Yes, Alexa. They get you so far into the transaction and then they start talking about wiring things to them and what there's all kinds of schemes out there. By the way, you look at that and you say, well, how could anybody do that? All it takes is 1 in 1,000 and then it pays off. Okay. So just want to let you know, it is out there, it's prevalent. Next, I'm going to have Susan come up here, and hopefully Mark is on the line, and hopefully we'll be able to hear Mark. But Susan Wolf.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mark, are you on the line?
I'm here. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay,
So
great.
I'm just going to take a second or two and explain what is going on. Many of you are emailing me or questioning your managers about Moove Guru. Like, what is Moove Guru? Why are my clients all of a sudden getting all of these emails? I have no idea what this is. I don't know of any trainings. I don't know of anything. Please stop it. So just to take a step back in time a little bit, back in November, we did set up a bunch of trainings, and the trainings were emailed to you. And I was a realtor for 30 years, so I know we all delete emails that aren't pertinent to what we're doing the day that we need that email. So I understand that many of you probably did not go through the trainings. If you go back into your emails though, and if you check on December the 6th, that's a very important date. That is the date that we launched Moove Guru. So you will have received a welcome letter from Moove Guru. And on that letter, it will have shown you all of the instructions to log in to your dashboard. So Mark is a Moove Guru relationship specialist. He is going to take you step by step through what is going on. I just want to let you know, many have decided to opt out of the program, which is an option. But what I'm finding is when I go back and talk to the people that are opting out, the reason that they're opting out is because they don't know what it is. And it really is a phenomenal program for you to be in touch with your past clients and to move forward into the future, continuing to stay in touch with your past clients. So I don't want to steal the show from Mark. He's going to go through it, but please, if you have any questions or if you have any doubts about anything, reach out to me. I will, Tom, I'm sure has my contact info. He can post it. I am fielding these questions all the time, and many, many people are now enjoying the program. So with that, Mark, you relationship guru specialist, you can take it away. First of all, before Mark starts, we all hate him because he's in Florida. I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay, well, some great stuff in this meeting. Let me tell you, great stuff, Tom, on the scam alerts. There's a lot of scamming going on out there, and make sure that the email address, not just the name, is accurate. So that's great stuff there. One of the things with Moove Guru is that we are an automated program because of your transaction management system .loop. It gives us the ability to work behind the scenes without the agent having to do anything really, except just import their information into the .loop program to get paid. So there's three things that we do really well. The first is email offers. Okay. So the Moove Guru, no, you can go forward. I know that we're a little behind.
Okay.
So Moove Guru is built to stay top of mind through customers and past customers and your sphere of influence. So I'll get to show you all of that today. Go to the next slide. Okay, once the information goes into the .loop program and is picked up every night by Moove Guru, once your customer goes into under contract or under pending, Moove Guru searches for the 5 bits of data that's needed, which is the name, the email address, the moving address, the closing date, and the telephone number. Once we get those 5 things, you'll get an email saying that your customer has been enrolled. So you'll have 24 hours to unsubscribe that customer from starting to get offers from during our moving discounts, or reached out to them for the concierge services to help them with utilities. So you have 24 hours to log into your dashboard. It says, that green button right there, log into your dashboard and then unsubscribe that customer. All right, next slide. So the moving concierge service is a white glove service that helps your customers, either your buyers or your renters, get set up with their utilities. Now, these are the 9 or so utilities: electric, gas, water, television, phone, internet, home security, insurance, moving trucks. We have their phone number, so we typically text message them to set up a date and time for us to help them with their utilities. This whole process should take less than an hour, and we offer your client every possible opportunity that they have in that area for all these different utilities, and then the client selects the best opportunity for them that date and time. There are some situations like with water or electric where you kind of like, you need your firstborn to get them to turn it on, or, cancel check or something like that, where if information has to get exchanged, that's, HIPAA compliant, we will exit the telephone call, and then the utility will tap us back in when that exchange is over. So this is a tremendous service for all of your buyers and renters to help them get set up with all the utilities. And it's a tremendous time savings for your client. Next slide. So once the contract goes under pending, the algorithm of our AI will start looking for opportunities to send your clients moving discounts. This particular moving discount is an offer from Home Depot where it provides your client 15% off up to $2,000 purchase. So if you're going to Home Depot to spend money, you can get up to 15% off, up to $300. Now this is branded to you as the agent and the brokerage as well. And this is a professionally done email. There'll be 8 to 10 of these emails going out over the first 100 days. It's about 30, we try to get 30 days before. Sometimes you don't get the contract in until 15 days before or what have you. It's okay. We'll still pick up the algorithm at 15 days to get your client the best offers during the moving discounts phase. These emails are coming exactly from your email address as the agent. The same email address that you've been using to correspond with them is the same email address that you'll be using to deliver these partner emails. Now, one thing to note here, Home Depot does not have your client's information. This is just an email providing an offer, on that agent's behalf. Next slide, please. There's a bunch of different partners that we have. I could name, there's probably 150 to 200 different partners, but all of them provide, there's two things. One is a hyper local focus. So we're not going to present Papa John's pizza if there's no Papa John's within 25 miles. So things like that, Home Depot versus Lowe's or what have you, depending on who's closer, some of those types of scenarios. Next slide. So we really break it down into pre-move and post-move. So what we're trying to do is provide offers before the closing date that are more pertinent, that we find that more of our clients are acting on. And then after the move date, there's a whole different set of offers that revolve around home maintenance or different upgrades that are available. And then, the Customer for Life program, which we'll get into right after this, is based on long-term needs. And this will, go as long as you keep the program. These offers will be happening. Can we go to the next slide? So this is the goal that we're trying to solve here. But NAR tells us that about 90 to 93% of the consumers say they'll use their same real estate agent, but in reality, only 13% really do. So this is a huge gap. And, if you look at your contacts, if you have 400 contacts, NAR says 9.7 of those are going to transact this year. Well, that's 37 transactions. So, the average agent is only getting 7. So what we try to do is keep you top of mind, provide great offers, discounted offers to your clients. So hopefully they'll remember you and your, likeness and phone number is going to be on every email. And, hopefully they'll remember you when it's time for them or their family member to need to get a listing agent. Next slide. So the Customer for Life program. So after the move and after the concierge service, we start doing another automated drip, kind of stretching out the emails more once every 2 to 3 months. So once every quarter. There's plenty of opportunity for you as the agent within our platform to grab content that we provide and provide it to your client. But, as somebody that understands real estate agents, I don't want to be bothered with that. I just want the system to do it by itself. So let the system run by itself, and your clients will benefit. this Customer for Life program gives you the ability to provide a CSV or an XLS file with your contacts, and we'll help upload it into the system for you so that all those new contacts, or old contacts, I should say, can benefit from this Customer for Life program. So try to keep top of mind with your full, Rolodex. I'm kind of old, so if you've never heard that word, is your CRM for you youngsters. And that's basically what we're trying to do, is keep you top of mind with those past clients and sphere of influence, so that when it's time for them to make a decision, they'll include you, and you becoming either a listing agent or helping them buy a new home. Go to the next slide. Like I said before, it's set it up, let it run, and you're done. Because of the API, we're able to do this behind the scenes. So really, you don't have to worry about anything but informing your client that they'll be getting some tremendous offers from some of your partners because they've done business with you as a thank you. And if they're a renter or a buyer, make sure that they're aware that if someone is going to be contacting them to help them set up their utilities and get the best deals that are available in the area on that day that they sign. Next slide. There is an agent dashboard that will show you every email that's going out to every one of your clients, every correspondence, every utility hookup. So basically, this program has full capabilities. If you're like one of those agents, like, myself or maybe Tom might want to get a little involved with every aspect of the program. There's a wealth of information in here to track emails, to see activity, and to see maybe that client that hasn't got their water hooked up yet, dropping them a little note saying that, hey, notice that you haven't got your water done yet. Might be that extra little nudge that'll keep you top of mind with that client. Next slide. And that's about it. Is there any questions? I tried to go through that as fast as I could to offer some time for questions. I think we have 4 minutes. Someone is going to have to repeat those questions into the mic.
The question is, does it cost anything?
Great question. So for the agent, for the customer, for the brokerage, it's free. Everything is free.
And also, just one thing to keep in mind, you don't have to do anything to get this running. So you're adding all of your information into .loop, and as long as you are entering all the fields that they require, it is automated and it's running on its own.
That's correct.
Any other questions, or any questions from anybody out on the Zoom call?
There's a question on the Zoom. How do you sign up, from Linda Forey? And also, if you guys could just stand right next to the microphone, otherwise we can't hear.
Okay. You don't have to sign up. The question is, how do you sign up? You do not have to sign up. All you do is add your information into .loop. I am also going to forward another sheet of information to Tom that he can post, and it will have a step-by-step explanation of how you enter the information into .loop. It'll also have a link that will take you into other aspects of Moove Guru that will help answer a lot of your questions. But please reach out to me if you have any issues. If you go back on December 6th and you cannot find that welcome email that has your login and password information, again, please reach out to me and I will get it for you. Colleen, any other questions on the Zoom chat?
Nope, that's all. Thanks, Susan.
Sure. So when you set up your, Mark, do you want to go ahead and field this one? The question is, when does it start? When does Moove Guru take action?
So every night, Moove Guru goes to the .loop system and looks for new entries that have gone under contract or pending. When the API, the direct connect from Moove Guru to .loop identifies that that happened, then that particular customer, the information is pulled from the .loop program, and the things that we're looking for are the customer's name, phone number, email address, closing date, and address that they're moving to or from. That is the key. We're picking up, once we pull that information, your agent will get an email saying that that client has been enrolled probably the next morning. So that's basically how it works behind the scenes. And then every night, Moove Guru is just searching for that particular scenario to happen again. A new client to go under pending or under contract.
There's also on that sheet that I'm going to pass off to Tom, a website, support@moveguru.com. Any questions that you might have, if you want to reach out directly to Moove Guru, they are extremely attentive in replying and responding to your questions. One thing, and we're going to close out, but Mark mentioned about uploading your database, your clients, past clients, into a CSV file or an Excel. This is something I just want to highlight because it's really important. They will take your past client list, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, I think they're going back at this point 2 years, past clients of the last 2 years. They will upload all of your clients, but your clients of the last 2 years will start to receive these emails, and it will go on for the lifetime of the client. They are looking to expand the program where they will then sometime this year go back further than even 2 years to get you back in touch with a lot of your past clients.
So what Susan is explaining is that the program will go back to .loop back a few years to grab your past transactions and import them into the Customer for Life program. You don't have to wait. You can add the CSV file that has that information of those clients, and we can import that. You know, so there's, if you are somebody like myself that is out there hunting for new listings and can't be bothered by this, don't worry. The program will take care of that and grab 2 years or more later for you. But you can, if you are somebody that wants to get your sphere and your past customers in your CRM uploaded as fast as possible, well, that's available for. All you have to do is send that file to support@moveguru.com and they'll upload it for you.
Mark, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. For those of you that don't know where Moove Guru is, it's actually in Homesale Center. It's right on the dashboard of Homesale Center. So as soon as you log into Homesale Center, you're going to be able to
Tom,
Mark, appreciate you being here.
hey, Tom,
Yes.
we had another question in the chat. What reassurances that the client information will not be shared and or sold?
That's a great question. Part of our contract and our agreement is that we can't share, sell, and the reason why I wanted to address this again is your customer is going to be getting an email from you, the agent, that looks like it's coming from Home Depot, almost like it's an offer from Home Depot. And your customer will think, Home Depot, why are you giving my information to Home Depot? Well, we're not giving your information to Home Depot. Home Depot is one of our partners. We provide an up to $300 off discount if you would like to execute that coupon. And if you do execute that coupon, rest assured, Home Depot is going to have your information and they're probably going to market to you. But they don't have your information yet until you transact with them. You're only getting an offer from a partner that is hoping to gain you as a new business client in that area and providing you a tremendous opportunity to correspond for the first time with one of those moving discounts, or, you know, after you've been in that house for a little while, your customer for life offer. I hope that makes sense.
And Mark, if I can pick up on that, it's kind of like Dotloop. Dotloop is owned by Zillow. And everybody was concerned that Dotloop was selling the information to Zillow and your clients. There are so many privacy agreements that if they are violated, the companies are screwed.
Yeah, we're out of business. We're out of business.
So it can't, I don't want to say it can't happen, but the likelihood of it happening, and contractually, they're not allowed to do it. So I just want to make sure.
Footnote on that real quick. Just to add a little bit more to that, Moove Guru is dealing with probably over 300,000 agents across the United States. I researched them for 12 months before Rod Messick and the rest of the leadership team decided to go with them. So part of their security check that they had to go through was a very high level security check with Berkshire Hathaway National. So they passed through that high level security check, and they absolutely cannot divulge any information to anyone.
Exactly right. That's a great way to say it, because that's exactly what happened. We had to go through a very high standard that you guys had set. So, but we're happy to answer any questions at any time. And Susan has my information if you want something immediate.
Thanks again, Mark. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. We're going to move on and talk about some topics that you guys are faced with right now. I think everybody has seen this in the news. They should. And everybody's wondering, how does this affect real estate inflation? Well, here's some things that you probably have seen in headlines or news stories on the internet. This one came from CNBC. Inflation surges 7.5% on an annual basis, even more than expected, and highest since 1982. It was back when I just graduated college. U.S. inflation charges higher with larger than forecast gain. Inflation hits 40-year high, pushing stocks lower. Now, here's what you're hearing in the field, because I've heard it from you. My clients are scared. They don't want to do anything because of what's happening with the economy. I'm going to share some things that you can hopefully put in front of them that says, this is probably one of the best times to actually get involved with real estate. You'll see what I mean here in a second. So here's a client who says, this inflation thing is really concerned to me right now. I think I'll wait until it calms down a bit. Well, here is a chart of inflation from the 70s to the 2010s. This is average. You'll see back in the 1970s, it averaged 7.1%, and it went up to the 2010s of 1.8%. That's the inflation rate. This is the home price appreciation rate. It's either at the same amount or greater than. Now look what's happened in 2020 and 2021 with inflation. And by the way, what you see on the right-hand side there, that's actually pretty low. Look at where home prices are. So this is a great opportunity to get involved with real estate because it traditionally is better and higher than the inflation rate. A couple other things. They'll say, well, I think I'm just going to stick around my apartment until this whole thing blows over. Well, here's the core inflation rate, this blue line from the 1973 to 2020. Look at the rental price appreciation during the same period of time. That's the red line. In most cases, the red line is above the blue line, which means rental rates usually outpace inflation. You really want to stay in your rental apartment. Next, cumulative house appreciation by 2026. This is done by a group called the Home Price Expectation Survey. They do this quite often, usually a couple times a year. There's optimists. These are the people that think it's really going to go great. There's pessimists that are like, well, let's slow down. And then the average is kind of like right in the middle. So what does this mean to people that you're talking to? It's 43.3%. If they bought a home today for $260,000, which is the median priced home in Lancaster County, median, not average. The sale price in 5 years is $372,000, which means you have an equity position of $112,000. This is a great time to get involved with real estate. I can't believe how much rates have gone up. I think I'll wait until they come down a bit before I buy. Well, let's look at history. Here's history from the 1970s to the 2010s. This is where it is today. Now, I gave Dan a heads up that this was coming. Dan, I'm not sure when you started in the mortgage business, but at 3.89%, even approaching 4%, I know we're still at a point in time that's just incredible.
I've been around 2003. So yeah, we were definitely around the 7%. It would take a little bit. Probably can't hear you so far away from that. Yeah, so when I came into the industry about 18 years ago, we were around 7%. So yeah, ultimately. Can you hear me okay?
Dan, if you could just move closer to the computer. I don't think the external microphones are working at all.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, simply saying that 18 years ago, rates were at 7%. So, you know, quite frankly, 4% is nothing to be ashamed of by any means. And interesting element that, you know, what's going on in the world right now has actually been very favorable for rates. So we've actually saw about a 0.25% improvement from yesterday to today so far. So, you know, strike when the iron is hot. I know I had some people that aren't locked in because they weren't too happy, but I think we'll be locking them in today based on where, you know, we're expecting rates to be today. So it's one of those things that's ever changing. I always tell clients it's like gas price.
Thank you, Dan. So this foreclosure situation is terrible. The pandemic really caused a lot of people to lose their homes. Total. So from 2017 to 2019, this was the foreclosure rate in the United States, averaging about 290,000 homes a year. Nothing to sneeze at. This is what happened in 2020. Now keep in mind, the government put some brakes on here, okay? So 2020, this is what the actual number was. In 2021, this is what the actual number was. So it's total fallacy, some of the things that people are saying out in the marketplace. It just is. So we're going to finish up today talking about bad agent reviews. And I won't ask anybody in this room or anybody in the call if you've ever had a bad agent review, because if you're in long enough, you're going to get one. At some point in time, it's going to happen. And when it does, the best thing that you can do is react appropriately, not lashing out at people. So a couple of things I'm going to share with you first. Most of the information that I've got here is from a guy named Jay Thompson. Jay Thompson owned his own boutique brokerage in Southwest United States. He worked for Zillow as the director of industry outreach for 6 years. And this is quite a long time ago when Zillow was just becoming a thing. And if you can imagine, it was his job to respond to all the complaints. So he knows a thing or two about how to respond to people on social media and also with reviews. And he is now an Inman News guest writer. He writes great articles. In fact, I pulled a big portion of this from him. So I want to put things in perspective first as far as these reviews that are online. Keep in mind that the vast majority of the people that you do business with aren't finding you online. They already know you. The buyers and sellers, they have used you in the past. So if you get one of these bad reviews, it's not the end of the world. Just keep that in mind. I went on Google reviews and I pulled up Lancaster Country Club. And Lancaster Country Club has 4.5 stars out of 5. And I scrolled down through and I'm thinking, who is going to give Lancaster Country Club a bad name? And I found one of these. I'm going to read it off to you because it's a little long. Food is awful. And when I asked the waitress whether or not they get a membership, she said no. The club doesn't do that. Well, first of all, if you know anything about country clubs, they don't give away memberships to people that work there. Place is nice, but I cannot enjoy an environment where the staff is treated so poor they project their uncomfortability onto people like me, the customer. Will be going elsewhere for a membership this year. Now, I'm guessing the people at Lancaster Country Club read this and they're probably saying behind the scenes, thank God. Thank God we don't have to deal with this person. You know, when you see these reviews, every once in a while, you're going to get these bad reviews. And if you go down through the vast majority of them, they're really good. And you have this one outlier, you know somebody had a bad day. Okay. So here are the basics for responding to these reviews. Don't be defensive. Understand the problem and what it will take to fix, and don't blame others. Never, ever online blame anybody else for something that they're writing. You'll be able to sift through some of this stuff, and you'll be able to see people who wrote reviews and how they look. The person who actually writes the review looks like the bad one. Own it. If the reviewer made a mistake, help them understand without belittling them. For instance, that thing about Lancaster Country Club and the memberships. Now, Lancaster Country Club did not respond to that. By the way, I would have, if I was Lancaster Country Club, I would have tried to educate the person saying, that's not normal standard operating procedure in the country club business. Be empathetic. Remember, the home buying and selling process is emotional. We all know that. We've been in it long enough. People get really high and they get really, really low. Don't take it personally. It's usually a transactional issue, not a personal one. They're not usually attacking you. They're attacking something that happened in the transaction. And be professional. Others are watching how you react in times of stress. I got to tell you, I have been on social media for years and years. I'm an old guy, but I've been on social media for years and years. And I love the political discussions that go on social media. Whether you're on the Democratic side, the independent side, the Republican side, all these people are trying to convince everybody else that come on over to my side. You know how many people I've seen over the years come on over to the other side? Zero. It's a total waste of time. Same thing applies here. Don't do it here. Okay? So how do you get rid of a bad review? Anybody ever tried to do it? By the way, it's impossible. You can do anything you want. Most sites will leave bad reviews up no matter what you say, whether it's fake or whatever, they're going to let it sit there. So get used to it and deal with it is the point. Spend your time addressing it instead of trying to get out of the bad review is really some good advice. Making a public response. By the way, any bad review, make a public response. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to address that. That's not the way to do it. I'm going to give you some examples here in a second on how to respond to these people. But here's the first thing you need to be aware of. Think before you type. The internet is permanent. And do it not after you've had your second adult beverage. Because usually after the second adult beverage, things just flow and it's not pretty the next morning. Okay? Respond to every negative review. It's an additional opportunity for you to exhibit your professionalism. And once again, I'm going to give you some examples of this. Don't get into a back and forth. One response is all you need. Let's see what I mean here in a second. So sometimes you get these anonymous bad reviews where somebody just blasts you and you're looking at it and you're going, I don't even know this person. Where the heck is this coming from? And the first thing you'd like to say is, this is fake. Don't, just stop it. Here is what you need to do. And by the way, copy this and just use it every time you get one of these. We cannot connect this review with any individual. Please reach out to blah, 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 as we would like to address your concerns directly. That will do the trick every time. And by the way, how many times will they get in touch with you? Right. This shows that you're willing to try to correct the situation and also that you're there to listen. So here's another one. They blame something out of your control. So, you know, they went out and they bought a brand new car during the mortgage process. It has nothing to do with you, but they're gonna blast you because they got turned down for a loan. Once again, our job is to educate, not to eviscerate people online.
How to make the R in a circle.
Colleen, you. The fake bad review. These are people that just, they're fake people out there. And once again, use that same paragraph, the exact same one. So here's some actual reviews. I pulled these off of Jay's site. This is one that says, we'll never recommend. Look at all the stars. There's a 3, a 1, 1, 1. Our experience in listing our home with blank was miserable. Except for listing on the MLS, any marketing was non-existent. We had to create our own brochures for buyers. No print, social media, or other marketing campaigns, and never showed up for any showings. It doesn't appear he even followed up with any of the buyer's agent for feedback. There are far too many realtors to waste time with blank and hoping that his brokerage mill of basic services lands the buyer highly suggests avoiding. That's pretty blistering, okay? So here's the problem. No one responded to this. And when nobody responds to something like that, anybody who reads that says, these people are hiding, they're trying to, you know, this must be them, because they don't even take the time to address this. So even if you get a negative review, always address it online. Here's a response from an agent. Looks like my profile has been hacked. This story is obviously fake and have never heard or met this person. Once again, think who's reading this. They're looking at that saying this agent has something to hide. Don't run from it. Or you get one that looks like this. This is the direct one. This review is complete bullshit. Okay? And I've read this. I have read it. Okay? How about this? As you can see from all our positive reviews, we take pride in doing our job well. We've researched what was presented in this review and cannot find any connection to an actual client. Would love for the reviewer to reach out to us directly or respond to the review so we can address any issues they may have had. Okay? Much better response. It is a response that shows professionalism. You're not slinging mud. Okay? Here's another bad one. I tried to enlist blank's help today for our impending move to the area, and before I could even get my first sentence out, he said, no thanks, not interested, and hung up. Incredibly rude and very disappointing, especially since he was our first experience with anyone in the area. Once again, this is pretty bad. Pretty bad, a lot of 1 stars there. This was the response. Lucy, I'm so sorry for this misunderstanding. Everything you've said is accurate. It happened. Unfortunately, I was caught off guard and mistook you for a solicitor who had called me repetitively for the same or from the same area code. The fault is all mine, and it's a hard lesson learned. Blank is a very welcoming community, and I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Once again, they're owning up. They're saying, my fault. I'm sorry. Trying to do better. I'm glad you found the house. much, much more professional versus trying to lash out at the person. So here's one that's about the same. Worked with one of your associates, blank, in searching for a house and was treated poorly from the start. Our wishes weren't respected on a number of fronts, from the types and costs of property we were interested in to the fact that we didn't want her to photograph our young daughter for her collection. Not sure what that means. They were unresponsive, uncooperative, and ultimately unfriendly. We found a wonderful realty partner elsewhere and now have a terrific house we're closing on next week. This was the response. Thank you for your feedback. Our team has a long history of success and a very high bar for excellence, as evident by the 85 plus glowing reviews that we've received and numerous deals that we've successfully completed with our many happy clients. I would not and could not be in the top 1%, blah, blah, blah. They're not telling the other person, you know, they're not throwing mud. They're not going point by point. They're basically saying, some of this stuff is our fault. Here's what we try to do. Here's a 4-star one that you saw, not all 5 stars. Selling a house that had been rented out for the past 4 years has not been easy. I'm going to go to the last sentence here. For me personally, I would have preferred less email exchanges and more phone conversations, but overall, she did a very good job for us. Pretty good, other than that last sentence. A lot of people would take the last sentence and go, ooh. This is how they responded. Thank you so much for the review. We pride ourselves in the network of professionals we've chosen to partner with after years of vetting. I'm so glad you found their services and ours so wonderful. And thank you for the feedback regarding our communication. Unlike most agents, we perform a lot of proactive communication with our clients, and sometimes phone calls can become a bit overwhelming, especially with the amount of detailed information we like to share. That said, I understand your comment and will strive to ensure the preferred method of communication is used for each of our clients. Thank you for trusting us with the sale. So once again, even address something that's kind of tepid in the middle, because you can always look professional online. None of these reviews that were addressed professionally, they actually make the agent look pretty good. Okay. And I'll leave you with this. I learned this many, many years ago. Be so good at what you do that no one will believe the negative things said about you. I learned this from one of my early sales managers who said to me, don't worry if people criticize you. You can only control yourself and your actions. How they perceive that is up to them. So be that a lesson to you. Just do it as well as you can. You're not going to have to worry about what people say. Okay? Ran a little bit over. Thanks for your attention this morning. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. Have a great day. Yep.